Man, since I finally got that silly little video done, I can finally go work on the Draco Blocks video I promised a while ago. Hey, wait a minute, what's that?
A few inches later.
Somebody help me! Now, what I'm going to be doing here is first I'm going to be talking about what I found during my search, and then I will go over some possible theories of what I think could possibly be happening here. If context is needed, I will give it during the segment that I go over it, but if not, I'll only talk about what I think is going on in the end. I'll be tackling this as if it were real, which it's obviously not. I just think it would be really funny. Also, I'm not covering the base video here because most stuff in it is given to you to begin with, and you don't have to do much searching, so I suggest you watch that before this. Anyways, enjoy the video. Now for the beginning. I started my search whenever I was just looking in the comment section of the Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures Part 1 video. And I noticed a little comment. And earlier, the reason I went to the video in the first place was because I found the video on the actual Alex and Scarlett Gaming video channel. And apparently, according to the comment, I won't cite it here for that person's privacy reasons, I found out, because of them, that there was a link in the comments from Alex and Scarlett Gaming in that video. So, like any normal person, I decided to click on it and download it. Though, little did I know that it would be a puzzle in and of itself to get into this file, because if I recall correctly, it was a .rar file and it required a password. Thankfully, I had already noticed the code earlier in the video, and the comment from earlier said that it was found in the video, so I just assumed it was the code, and it was. But I was definitely not expecting what was in this file. Oh yeah, also it's called Souls, by the way. Not concerning at all, like, you know. Oh yeah, let me just go into this random YouTube comment section and just download a file called Souls. Not concerning at all. And what's more concerning is whose it is, because it says Everest. And if you haven't watched the video, which I advise you to, I advised you in the intro, Everest was completely fine. So, there's gotta be something we're missing. Thankfully, there's not anything we're missing, because the answer to that is in the file itself, but we'll get to that later. So anyways, the first thing that was in the file was a text file called digitalization. I'll read it out here. Digitalization is when a human soul is transported from the current world to a digital one, rejecting the original body in the process. The original host of the soul often shows signs of extreme sickness, coughing out blood, and soon passing out. The only way to get back a digitalized soul is to use two other digitalized souls. First off, how have I never heard of this before? And second off, this at least gives us a way we know that Alex and Scarlett are not trapped. And I don't know why, I was really stupid. I volunteered myself. Not because I find the scraps to be cool or anything. What? No. I don't know why that would be. Anyways, moving on. The next thing in the file is a PNG file called meme. It's directly from the entity, and it reads as follows. My body feels like many in one. I feel powerful, but I am limited to this digital world. If I want to use this power in the real world, I will need two souls. Now, this thankfully gives us what this entity wants. It's still pretty vague, but at least we know they want more power. Though there is one thing that's contradicting them, like wanting a bunch of power, which is the next thing we're going to be going over. But before going into that, I thought I should mention that I tried brightening the image, but there was nothing there. Anyways, let's move on to the next segment now. For now, we'll be skipping the website that's in the folder and be moving straight on to the MP4, so be it. I think it's best if I let you watch the video and then I talk about it, because it's a bit to take in, so just enjoy it. I think it's pretty obvious what happened here, so I won't waste a million years trying to say it. It's very clear here that Everest got digitalized. Not because the entity went for them, but because they just kept bothering them about it. I mean, it's very understandable. Later in the Fury section, I will talk about this more, but as far as I know, they just did this because they wanted to be with the other two. Now that we're done with that, it's time to move on to section 2. Now, I don't know why, but I started a segment not on the website in the folder, but on Roblox. What I did was look for their Roblox profiles to see if I could find anything. I'll save you the short of it. They had nothing on them. I don't know what I expected. Like, it's not like they're involved with the entity directly or anything. It seems to have just chosen them. Like, it's not much. The one funny thing I did find out was that Alex has 2 accounts. But other than that, that was it. Anyways, let's move on to the website that's in the folder. Now, rather than just talking about it, I think I should show you it fully instead. Okay, so getting straight back into it, we first see that we're on Alex's computer. The date is unknown, we only have the time in the bottom right hand corner, but something tells me that's just connected to your computer's time, telling by the time I did this. The only thing leading away from that is that I was doing this at 8 PM, not AM, but other than that, one of the first things we see is a Roblox player icon in the bottom left-hand corner. When clicking on it, it showed that little thing that happened there. Not too important, but it shows that Scarlet was trying to reach out to Alex other than that one time that was shown in the video. The next thing is the notepad, and it talks about how Alex really just has been missing Scarlet and just wonders where she's went. The main thing that caught my eye whenever I read this is that Alex mentions a flower crown Scarlet made for him, and I immediately realized that that's why Alex's Boxton was wearing a flower crown at the end of the Alex and Scarlet Gaming Adventures Part 1 video. My main theory of how this even happened is that he may have been wearing it before getting digitalized, and that's why it went in with him. That, or like, since it held so much value to him, it just materialized itself. Sadly, that's the most I could get out of this, so we're just gonna move on to the next section. Wait. Okay, future me here. I did a lot more research on one night after I finished the audio, and I learned that Danny's World Creepypasta Wiki actually has a lot of stuff for the ARG by the creator. So yeah, it kind of gives us more on the entity and their goal, thankfully, but it also gives us their name. But I'll get to that later because I don't want you to know her name, and I just don't know, so yeah. I'll see ya. Okay, so this section's name might seem a little bit confusing at first, but there's actually multiple things to do with the audio in both Transplanted and the Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures Part 1 video. And let me just get straight to it. Starting off in chronological order, in Transplanted near the end, you can hear these little funny noises. And that would be a spectrogram. And here's what the spectrogram says. This will be dubbed, by the way.
It's scary here. I don't like it here. I want to go home.
Now, before discussing this, I'd just like to get the elephant out of the room. The stuff at the top says the same exact thing. Don't worry about it. Before going into the next one, do note that these next two are inside the Alex and Scarlett Gaming and Adventures Part 1 video. Anyways, the next thing is also a spectrogram, though this time it's not words, it's an image. It's not much, it's just the Alex and Scarlett Gaming and Adventures channel icon. So, not much to take from it, except it's evil and corrupted. Oh, my gosh! Ah! Okay, so the next thing is towards the end of the video, whenever the entity is talking directly to us. I was able to hear that the ambience in the background was actually a song slowed down, and here's my reaction to it. That's the song they used at the beginning of the video. Really? Okay. Yeah, I noticed that was a song, but you know, I guess they just used what they had the easiest access to. Okay. Not really what I was expecting, if you couldn't tell by me slamming the desk. I expected it to have some sort of meaning, but I guess the entity just wanted to be a little bit lazy today. I can't blame them at all. Like, being an entity is probably hard work, you know. That's about it for the audio section, so we finally get to discuss some theories I might have. So let's just move on to the next section already. Not what I meant. There are two main theories I could go over, but if I do think of any others while making this, I will be sure to say them. First, though, I would like to return to Everest. I know earlier I said Everest probably got themselves digitalized just to be with the other two, which could most likely be it, but there's a oddball theory you could make saying that the fact that the digitalization note it is in Everest folder, saying that that could mean Everest knows what digitalization is and how to stop it. But that note really only tells us free souls are needed and not how to do it. So I think we can rule that one out, but it is something to consider. Now that that small little theory is out of the way, we can finally move over to the entity. First off, I just want to get this out of the way. I have been calling them the entity this whole video, but I did actually think of a name for them, but I just wanted to wait until now to say it. I thought of their name being Mastermind since they seem to be in control of the situation, but now it's time to actually get to theorizing about them. First, I would like to talk about the implications of need.png. It says that they feel like many in one, but doesn't say that they are. And the entity doesn't act like they're in split personalities. So it may just be that the entity is physically in the body of Scraps or something, but I'm not fully sure on that. It could be something else entirely. It probably is. But also I'd like to talk about how it's called need and not want, because of course those are two different things, but the fact that it says need feels like they need to do this. They need Scarlet and Alex, or two random people, to get more power for whatever reason they might need it for. Anyways, that's all I wanted to cover on need.png. To the end of the Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures Part 1 video, because there's something there that I need to talk about, because my theory on what Mastermind wants from us is in that video. At the part where Everest ends the video, Mastermind directly interrupts with the video to speak directly to us. And they show us that Alex did get digitalized. So, my question is, why would they do this? My theory is that they're basically being an anti-JX1-DX1 and want us to intervene in some way. I don't know for what purpose, but they do directly want us to engage in this. There is one thing that backs away from this, and that is So Be It.mp4, but that may have just been because Everest wanting to get taken right then and there made it so that Mastermind had to change their plans a tiny little bit, because Everest just did that out of nowhere, like no warning at all. So I could see that being the case if this is true. You know what, I think I know something I want to do real quick before the video ends, and just in case, I'll record the intro before it. Anyways, let me just go try this. But before that, it's wiki time! First, there's at least two main things I want to cover on this wiki. It's the entities page, and the Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures page. Because those will give us the things that we need to solve this whole mystery going on here. There's a little bit of the entity sprinkled around in the wiki, but I just want to stick to the main two pages. Buxy has his own page, and the entity left a note on that. But that's just the entity absolutely dogging on Alex. So first is the entities page. And we finally get to know her name. It is Craft Iris. Okay, so I could have found this out so much sooner. You remember that password from earlier that got me into the file? It was a Caesar cipher, and when translated it says the Craft Iris. Are you kidding me? Honestly, fire name. If I were to get taken by an entity, I would want them to have a fire name like this, to be completely honest. Anyways, the main two things we get from this is a render of the entity and a quote from them saying that I needed those two souls, which fuels my theory from earlier. Also, I have to say, I know I made a little joke about it earlier, but I don't know why, but I just really like this entity. So, like, you know, I might be a little bit biased here. Anyways, let's move on to the Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures page, because that gives us a little bit more info. It gives us 3 different things to look at. All 3 of these will be dubbed so you don't get jump scared.
He is suffering. Can't you see that? You see the signs and are too lazy to do anything. I hate the world.
From the way they're put, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that these are said right after each other, and this gives us an extra motive for Craft Iris to do this in the first place. Because they say, quote, I hate the world, which could be for a multitude of reasons, but something tells me it has to do with the subject matter that they're talking about. Possibly they were left by something and that caused them to hate the world, but as far as I know right now, we will not know. In fact, this page even makes me think that this is why Craft Iris seems to be more hostile towards Alex. He didn't really do much to search for Scarlet and just ignored all the signs. Anyway, that's all I wanted to discuss here. I'm gonna go try to do that thing now after seeing all this. It may be a little bit dumb to do, but like, I at least want to try to do something here. Well, that didn't go very well. And that was Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures. I will probably be doing a follow-up to this once part 2 comes out, but this was pretty fun for me to research. Honestly, I would love to do more in the future. Of course, there are some things I missed, but I just didn't think they would fit very well into the video. So, yeah. Also, I had delayed this enough because of new findings, so... In fact, one even happened yesterday because I realized that Goob and Alex and Scarlett Gaming Adventures were kinda in the same universe, but, that's a theory for another day, and it's not too solid anyway, so it's fine being left out here. Anyway, it's time for Ken and me to be talking. I've been here for around like a month or so. I got like the real Goob himself to edit this, so like I should be in good hands. Honestly, Craft Iris I've barely even seen them here, but it's not too bad. I do kind of want to go back, but other than that, it's fine for the time being. Anyways, I'll see you all later. It was fun to do the search, but until we